Welcome to Counsel and Community.
Hello, counsel and community listeners. This is the Nelson Law Group team here to share practical guidance on navigating legal challenges while offering tips for personal growth and financial well-being. Counsel and Community is where legal insights meets real life impact. My name is Kevin Rosenquist. We are excited that you are here. And when I say we, I am talking about the founding partner of Nelson Law Group, Brett Nelson, as well as Sarah Green, divorce care specialist. Brett, Sarah, thanks for joining us.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, so we're gonna have an episode on the Nelson Law Group story, talking about building a law firm with purpose. So I am going to hand the reins over to you guys, and I'm excited to hear how Nelson Law Group started.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so Brett, tell me, because I'm relatively new around here,
Yes.
right? So tell me a little bit about your journey and how that inspired the culture here and what you're doing that's different at Nelson Law Group.
Sure. Well, I can remember my parents were divorced when I was 5, and I can remember sitting in the back seat of my car and my dad talking to his lawyer, and then he would complain about, various things about that conversation or his relationship with his lawyer. And then so that's in the back of my mind. My father also had a saying that lawyers create no wealth, they just divide it. And that has resonated with me. And then as I moved forward in my life and became a lawyer, I realized that both of those statements and experiences could be corrected if you changed how you did your business or went about your business. And so when I first got into the private practice of law, I was working for a law firm, and I quickly learned that how the business of law was being conducted at this place was not how I wanted to do it. There was a disconnect between what the client needed and what we were providing. So I stayed there for about 18 months and started my first law firm in 1997. And from there, I've evolved both as a human being, my walk with Christ, and as my experience as a lawyer. And I wanted to form a law firm that we were really client-centric. We focused on the needs and wants of our clients. Fast forward 2020, COVID came. I think there's a epidemic of mental health issues, and I started to see that in the client base that we were serving, that there was this gap. People were concerned about going and talking to somebody because that was going to become, subject to discovery, and also the practitioners maybe weren't well versed in how the divorce process works. And so I decided to bring the mental health component into the firm, and here we are. We're providing excellent legal services, but we're also providing resources for our clients to tap into the other side of the case, which is just as important, their mental health.
Yeah, and it's really, really revolutionary. And it's a way, I know when I came here, I was really struck by the way that you service your clients. And you have a personal philosophy, I think, if you'll talk about that, about how you can use this legal process and family law cases and the other kinds of cases we do here as an opportunity to serve people.
Of course, yeah. Several years ago, I came to this revelation that it's the Lord bringing me people that are in need, and the hardships that I went through my life, which I've later learned were just opportunities for growth, were given to me so that I could counsel and come from a place of experience for the people that are brought to me now. It's quite empowering to be able to speak of my own personal experiences and provide guidance and counsel to my clients when they're here for my own personal experience.
Yeah, and I know that I've had, clients that have come to me and have said, that they saw you a few years ago and you were like, right now is not the time.
Yes.
Right now is not the time.
I have a philosophy that when someone comes to me to file for divorce, I kind of have a few questions that I ask them to make sure that this is really the decision that they've thought through, and really want to pursue. Obviously in issues of abuse, those questions are pretty short, and it's not a primary consideration. But if someone comes in me complaining of what I conclude is really communication issues, I ask questions and probe to make sure that the marriage is at a point where it's not savable.
Yeah, that is something that you do for sure, and is a valuable service for sure. So you talked a little bit about the client care piece, which you've got myself here, you've got Rana here, and how you saw this need for having some mental health support for your clients during this process, which, it's a trauma, right? That people
Yes.
are going through.
Yes.
The coming apart of a family is a trauma. And so needing that support. And what you said, not discoverable. So for the people that are listening that don't know what that means, like, why is it nice to have somebody in-house? And what does discoverable mean? And why is it good to have somebody under the firm's umbrella serving your clients?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I'd be glad to clarify. Typically, when you go to counseling, those records are discoverable in a divorce. Yes, you have patient counselor privilege, but typically in a family law case, especially when there's children, that can be waived. Our approach to it is that we've hired you, you're our employee, so we view that as work product. And work product is absolutely protected within the umbrella of the attorney-client privilege. That is not going to be discoverable. So we feel that our clients can come in, hire you, and get the benefits of your experience, your training, without the negative exposure, possible exposure of their intimate feelings in the litigation. It is very important that happen because sometimes people just need to vent. And if you vent to somebody that it's trusted and can't go anywhere, there's no negative impact on your case. You go to your counselor, you vent, and you run into a position that, oh yeah, well, I said that to my counselor. I really didn't really mean it, but hard to deny that when you're on cross-examination.
Right. Yeah. And as a practitioner, it feels with your clients, they feel like they can be more vulnerable and more open because they're not worried about this stuff kind of getting somewhere, getting in front of somebody that it shouldn't go. And we are also able to help people because we're getting to the root of the thing and we're getting to the truth.
100%. You mentioned that the divorce is traumatic. Typically, people that are getting divorced have some earlier trauma in their life or environmental factors that have led them to the point of their divorce. In other words, there's some life event that's happened that they haven't truly dealt with that is causing an imbalance, which is resulting in whatever issue they have in their marriage.
Right. And can we talk a little bit about, we have Rana here too. Rana is a litigation consultant. And can we talk a little bit about how Rana is helpful and on your cases and for your clients and kind of her areas of specialty? Because I know she's got tons of experience.
Yeah, 100%. I met Rana when she was appointed in a case that I had as the child custody evaluator on an actual case I had in Denton County. And she and I kind of developed a rapport during that report. It was a very interesting case. I think we gained a mutual respect for her. Fast forward, 10 years, she got out of that realm and began working in the private sector, doing the work that litigation support. And I was able to get her to join our team. And Rana brings, she's probably testified 50 times in court. I can't even imagine how many cases that she's been appointed on and rendered opinions on. But what's important about Rana is not only her experience in the process and understanding, testifying in court and being through all that, but she also knows all the players in the community that on the mental health side. So she's a great resource for services in the event that we need to refer somebody out. She's very good at getting our clients ready for a psychological evaluation or a custody evaluation. Mm-hmm. The most useful part of it is that she's really helpful in getting people ready to testify because she's testified so much that she knows the ins and the outs of good testimony. The most frequent service that she provides, though, is one of communication. How do we communicate to the co-parent? And that's an art in and of itself. And she's able to provide that counsel and service to our clients. And, quite frankly, she looks at it through a different lens than I do. What's the benefit to both you and Rana is that you're providing a service that ultimately calms the client down, gets them to be less emotional, and their reactions are less, and therefore their decision making is better, which ultimately leads to less attorney's fees and a better result.
Right. And a better co-parenting relationship often, and just a better experience moving forward, making better decisions, not marrying the same person a second time.
Yes, 100%.
We talk about that.
Yeah, 100%.
Doing that. Yeah.
Well, that's good for them and everything. It's not so good for business. But it's a cost benefit that we're willing to take.
Right. And it is really important. And when we started having this conversation about, me coming over to the office, and when I've had conversations with people, out in the world, they're like, well, duh, of course,
right, yeah.
Because people do. And a lot of times people don't realize, they get heated and they get in the moment and they fire off a big long email to you, and that costs. Right.
Sure does.
That costs attorneys bill for their time. And so a lot of times those emotional conversations are not legally beneficial or factual. It doesn't help the case. It's just they need a place to put it. And so when you've got people in the office that are not billing at the rate that you're billing, they can put all of that somewhere, and then someone like myself can go in and help them pick out the pieces that might be what I call a lawyer question.
100%. And because of the loaded emotional content, you're much better equipped to answer most of that than I am. I come across as very unempathetic, I guess. Is that the word? I don't know. Let's say I'm very businesslike, very intense. And I'm looking at, how is this legally significant? How is this factually significant to the issues at hand? And less at the moment you're saying it or experiencing it. Whereas I believe you are more in the moment with the person and taking them as they present to you, and not for what I need it for.
Well, lawyers practice law, right? And so you guys are about the facts of the case, building the case. What's the evidence that you can present to the court in order to get your client what they need, correct?
Yes.
So, and the law doesn't often care about how we feel.
Correct. And said a little better, I think, is that I may miss the significance of something that is in the message because I'm looking at it for legal and factual relevance. You're looking at it from an emotional well-being perspective. And with us both looking at the email, the client will have a better value or higher value response from our office relative to that one email.
Well, and a more holistic experience because we're looking at the whole person and their family.
Yeah, much better. Much. You said that much better than me.
Well, it's wraparound care.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
It's wraparound care for sure. I know that with some of our conversations we've talked about, and you said this too. It's like you take your life experiences, right? And we've all had stuff. I do the work that I do as a child of divorce, multiple step parents and not a good situation. And so my life's work is about protecting children, right? And allowing people to have better experiences through divorce, and hopefully not creating more trauma for their children. So I always say I'm reducing the emotional, financial, and spiritual impact of divorce on people and their families. And so that a lot of us, in the world, we are serving out of our places of pain. Like you said, you were a child of divorce, you had these experiences. And so you've turned this around into a way that you can kind of serve from your own pain.
100%. Yeah. I've said this 1,000 times. I've been in the 32 years I've been doing this. My life is redeemed through my work as a lawyer. All the hurtful and hard things that I went through from childhood all the way up to my adulthood is redeemed through this process. And as I said earlier, it's very cathartic to be able to provide wisdom to someone from my past experiences that were maybe painful.
Yeah. Can you think of an outcome off the top of your head? I know I'm putting you on the spot. That is where you felt like, man, this was a really good outcome.
Yes, I can. Interestingly, I have a lot of things are rushing to my mind. And what's interesting in this job is things happen randomly. I've received letters, 15, 16 years after the fact, thanking me for, saving this child's life or changing this child's life with respect to something that I did for a family in court, a long time ago. But recently I was in court on a situation where mom hired me in the divorce. We finished the divorce. She agreed to a possession schedule that she was a little uncertain about because of the history and the relationship. But she contacted me recently with some fear about moving forward. She had some grave concerns about what was going on in dad's household. It was on a 50-50 possession schedule. So we talked about it, and ultimately she made the decision to move forward. And we had a hearing recently where a doctor came in and testified and was able to establish that some things were going on in dad's home, and we're able to restrict dad's possession while the boys get counseling and dad addresses his issues. So, that was a very difficult case in light of the facts that we had, but very gratifying to provide comfort to this mother to know that her boys are on the way to recovery.
Yeah, and they're going to be safe. And that is one of the things that you can do in this role, right?
Yes.
It's one of the things that you can do in this role. And so I'm super just grateful to be part of this, because I think that what you're doing here is really, like I said, it's revolutionary, and it should be happening in more law firms. I think a lot of firms do have people they refer out to, but to have people on staff and in office that are doing this, I think is great. One of the things we talked about when we said we were going to do this little podcast was that each week we were going to do a mindful moment. And so I have our mindful moment for today.
All right.
Our mindful moment. I wanted to just kind of task everybody. I'm about action steps within my practice, since I'm always giving my clients action steps, things to do, especially in situations when we feel like we're out of control. Like in a family law case, a lot of other people are making decisions for us. So I try to find ways to give them action steps, because that makes them feel in control of something, some small thing. So the action step for this week and the mindful moment is to find a way, think about something that's happened to you in your life, maybe something that hurt you or wounded you, and find a way to turn that pain into a place of purpose where you can serve other people. And just start thinking about that. And maybe in the comments, if you think about a way that you can turn your purpose, your pain into purpose, we would love to hear about it. And thanks, Brett.
Yeah, thank you. Really enjoyed it. Have a good day.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. It was really awesome to hear about what you guys are doing and how the firm came about. It's a really inspiring story. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Counsel and Community with Brett Nelson and Sarah Green. For further information, please check out our app, which allows more accessibility to our customers and anyone interested in the firm. It includes the daily blog, account access for current clients, exclusive content to users as well. Is it available? Where is it available, guys, the app?
All the app stores. So you can download just the Nelson Law Group app. And we also just launched a little divorce ebook that we wrote that kind of walks people through the steps of the process to give them some information and some guidance along the way.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you both so much for being here. It was really nice hearing you got your chat, and looking forward to the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments. For more exclusive content, including helpful guides like our Divorce Care Guide, download our app today and get the support you need right at your fingertips.